Hey y'all, so tonight I'm going to talk to you about the best things I grew in 2021 and what my plans for 2022 are. So we're going to break it up so it's not one huge long video most likely. So first we're going to start with tomatoes. I love to grow tomatoes. And I grew some new things this year. Some I didn't like, some I did. And then of course I grew some tried and true varieties. But what I want to talk to you are the 10 favorite. So the first one I do not have a seed packet for, and it was called a Zoyshka. And a local farmer here gave me a plant from his greenhouse, and it was the Russian Zoyshka tomato. And that one plant produced from, I think it was May that I got it, all the way to October before I finally ripped it out. It was so prolific the entire season. It was just covered in tomatoes, and it was just this very pleasant orange tomato. Wasn't overly tomatoey or acidic, but it had a nice mild flavor. It did have kind of a heavy wilt and disease issue, but I just kept trimming that off, and it just kept going and going and going. So the next one is a tried and true for me. I fell in love with it last year, and that is the mortgage lifter. So the mortgage lifter is just a very steady red, nice size tomato. Always came in just kind of perfect, and it's just become like my favorite. I used to be like a German Johnson girl because that was grown a lot around here. I don't even think I grew a German Johnson last year, or this year, excuse me. It's still 2021. I just didn't. I fell in love with the mortgage lifters, and that's what I grew. So number 3 on my list is the San Marzano, and I grew that one in place of the Roma tomato. My family has always been just Roma. My mother likes beefsteaks, German Johnsons, yellow boys, and Romas, and that's all she cares to grow. So I wanted to try something different because for some reason I just wasn't a huge fan of the texture of the Roma inside. They are easy to skin and can beautifully, and they're great for sauce. I just wanted something a little bit different. So I tried the San Marzano, and I really liked it. I don't think you get as much tomato, but I liked the texture of it. This year I will probably grow both Roma and San Marzano. I really like this, but you can't really beat the ease of the Romas for canning because you just, those skins just pop right off and you can just pop them out. So, and these were a little bit tougher to skin. Some of them would, you know, cap them and, you know, pop them off, but some of them I had to sit there and actually like pull the skin away. So the next one is the black Krim. I had gotten some black Krim a few years ago and could never get them to germinate. So I finally bought some from Baker Creek because I've had good luck with their seeds, and those germinated really well, and I really liked the flavor of this. I liked the deep color, and when I canned it, I loved the mix of the tones by having like the black Krim and the Berkeley tie-dye green and the yellows and the orange and the red all mixed together. I just thought it made a beautiful jar, and it gave my sauces a really nice flavor. I will say the black Krim, while it is flavorful, it was not a heavy producer for me. So the next one is the Berkeley tie-dye green. I really enjoyed this one. The color is stunning. It's beautiful in the garden. It was a very flavorful tomato. Like, it just had the deepest tomato taste that just burst in your mouth. And everyone loved it. Everyone loved the colors. Everyone liked how it grew. Everyone liked the flavors of it, so it was definitely a plus for everyone this year. I gave several plants away because the germination was really great on it. So this became kind of a favorite in my circle this year. The Blue Beauty. This one was the first of my plants to produce. It had a pleasant flavor, a very pretty vine, and I actually grew it beside a cattle panel trellis. And by the end of the season, it had grown up over the cattle panel trellis, like to the top of the curve. It was crazy. Like, it was such a big vine. I want to say it was over 10 feet by the time you counted the curve and everything, and it produced long. It was a slower tomato to ripen. The fruit would sit on there, so it was a little late as far as coming to color, but it was like my first producer as far as the plant goes. The Kellogg's Breakfast. This was another winner for me this year. Kellogg's Breakfast, I love yellow tomatoes. They are by far my favorite, yellow and orange. So this one was so big, and this one was planted right beside one of the Blue Beauties that went up over the trellis, and this one did too. I don't know if it was just such a great spot, how I fertilized it, or what, but this one produced all through the season and went up over the trellis and just continued to have big, beautiful fruit on it. It drove me crazy though, because there was some fruits that were so big, and I swear it seemed like I had to wait 2 months for them to actually ripen. And I would sit there and watch them and watch them and watch them, and 1 or 2 of them the bugs got before they came in color, and it made me so mad. I can't see my notes. The next one is the Dad Sunset, and part of me just loves the name. I am a daddy's girl. But this is just a gorgeous tomato with the colors of the orange and the yellow. I loved it, and it had good germination for me. Had a really nice, pleasant flavor. So this one I will be definitely continuing to grow. Apparently I'm fascinating when I'm trying to record something. I don't know what it is. All right, so the last large tomato I have, get out of there, is the White Tomasol. This one was a freebie to me from Baker Creek. It was one of my free seeds. So we planted a few of these, and I gave this one to my mom because she loves yellow tomatoes too. And I was like, oh, well, this one's gonna be super mild. It's more of a white. So she had a couple of these plants in her garden, and these things are such high producers. I mean, they just do not quit. Tomato after tomato after tomato, that she called me and she was like, come get these white tomatoes. They have no flavor, and I have them coming out my ears. I don't want them. Come get these tomatoes. So I did, and I only had 1 plant of this. So, and it was just a great producer. Now, I personally like it. It's not a great sandwich tomato, which I guess is what she was trying to do with it, but it's a great filler tomato because it's such a high producer. It was great for canning because I could mix it with the jars in with the reds and the yellows and get more bang for my buck, like extend how many jars I could get so that I could make more sauces and soups. So it does not have a ton of flavor to it to me, but it has very low acid. So I did add a little lemon juice when I was canning, and I had more of the white and yellow in and not as many of the red to bring that acid up. But I really enjoyed it just because it was such a great producer for me, and I didn't have any disease problems with it. This plant remained looking great the whole time. So, and it went all the way to the frost. I actually think that it was still producing after the frost. Some of the lower branches that were more protected, but I would have never gotten tomatoes from it, so I went ahead and pulled it out. So my 10th choice in the tomato category is the Sunrise Bumblebee. I like having a snack tomato in my garden, and I used to do the typical, it was like the sweetie cherry or something like that, and the yellow pear. That's what everyone around here plants. You can find the seed packs at your local garden center, at Lowe's, wherever. It's just very typical for this area. So I found these, and there's also the, I think it's the blueberry bumblebees. Anyway, I planted those and they're fantastic. So I planted them again this year, and again had great success. The plant lasted from the beginning of the season all the way past the frost. I mean, there was so much fruit that I just left it on there. I had people come pick from it. I was so tired of them by the end of the year. I just left them on the vine, and I really should have picked them and, you know, like preserved them in oil or whatever, or dehydrated them. They would have been great dehydrated, and I did dehydrate some. But this one plant, actually I think I had 2 plants, but they were just so prolific. So I probably will only do 1 this year. I don't know, I might do 2, because a couple of the other varieties I am not going to do, like the Bride's Atomic Grape. Was not a huge fan of that one. Didn't really do anything with it. I have more seeds for it, so I may plant it again in the future, but I probably won't plant it again this year, just because I want to optimize my space for other varieties. So if I can only choose 1 cherry tomato variety, this is going to be it. And this one's the Sunrise Bumblebee. So that is it for the tomatoes.